The story begins in a small mountain town called Forgotten Creek, where time seemed to flow slower than in the rest of the world. The town was known for its dense forests, crystal clear river, and a legend about a lost treasure hidden somewhere in the area. The main character of this story is Emily, a young librarian who recently moved to Forgotten Creek. She dreamed of a quiet and peaceful life, away from the bustle of the city. But Forgotten Creek turned out to be far from as quiet as she expected. One day, while sorting through old books in the library stacks, Emily came across a strange, leather-bound volume. There was no title or author on the cover. The book seemed very old, and the pages were yellowed with age. Curiosity got the better of Emily, and she decided to read it. The book inside was a diary of a man named Isaac, who lived in Forgotten Creek more than 100 years ago. Isaac was a hunter and trapper, but his true passion was exploration. In his journal, he described his adventures in the woods, his encounters with wild animals, and his search for the legendary treasure of Forgotten Creek. Isaac believed that the treasure was hidden in an ancient cave guarded by the spirits of the forest. He spent years trying to find this cave, but to no avail. In his last journal entry, Isaac wrote that he was close to solving the mystery, but a sudden illness prevented him from completing his search. Emily was intrigued by Isaac's story. She felt that she had to continue his work and find the lost treasure, but she knew it would not be easy. The woods around Forgotten Creek were full of dangers, and the legend of the treasure attracted fortune hunters to the town, ready to do anything for profit. Emily began her own investigation. She studied old maps, interviewed locals, and spent days in the woods trying to find traces of Isaac. She learned of ancient signs left by the natives of the area, hidden paths, and secrets the forest held. Emily soon realized that she was not alone in her search for the treasure. A certain Mr. Blackwood, a wealthy and influential man, was also interested in the find. Blackwood was known for his ruthlessness and willingness to use any means necessary to achieve his goals. One day, while exploring an old mine near Forgotten Creek, Emily encountered Blackwood and his men. Blackwood ordered her to stop searching, but Emily refused. She knew that the treasure belonged to the town, not to one person. A chase ensued. Emily ran through the woods, pursued by Blackwood and his men. She used her knowledge of the area to elude them, but she knew that this could not continue for long. Eventually, Emily found herself at the entrance to an old cave that she had seen on one of Isaac's maps. It was the same cave where, according to legend, the treasure was hidden. Emily entered the cave knowing that Blackwood would not leave her behind. It was dark and damp inside the cave. Emily turned on her flashlight and began to carefully move forward. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. Blackwood and his men entered the cave. They surrounded Emily and ordered her to hand over the map. Emily refused. She knew that this was her only chance to protect the treasure. She rushed to a narrow passage in the cave wall and tried to hide. Blackwood and his men followed her. The chase continued through the twisting tunnels of the cave. Emily used all her skills to stay ahead, but Blackwood was persistent. Eventually, Emily found herself in a large cave where there was an ancient stone altar. On the altar lay an ancient wooden box. It was the treasure that Isaac was looking for. Blackwood burst into the cave and ordered Emily to hand over the box. But Emily did not give up. She knew that she had to protect the treasure at any cost. Suddenly, the cave shook. An earthquake. Blackwood and his men panicked. They tried to escape, but a collapse blocked the exit from the cave. Emily and Blackwood were trapped. They were alone in a dark cave, surrounded by ruins. Despite their enmity, Emily and Blackwood realized that they needed to unite to survive. They began to search for a way out of the cave together. After several days full of dangers and hardships, they managed to find a narrow passage leading outside. They got out of the cave, exhausted but alive. Blackwood, having survived mortal danger, changed. He realized that the thirst for profit is not worth human life. He abandoned his claims to the treasure and left Forgotten Creek. Emily returned to town with a wooden box. Inside were old books, maps, and journals describing the history of Forgotten Creek and its surroundings. It was not gold and jewelry, but it was something much more valuable: history and knowledge. Emily handed the find over to the town council, and it was decided to create a special section in the library dedicated to the history of Forgotten Creek. Emily became the keeper of this memory, and her name was forever inscribed in the history of the town. Sometimes sitting in the library and sorting through old books, Emily remembered Isaac, a hunter and trapper who gave his life for her dream. She knew he would be proud that his work had been continued and that his treasure had been found and preserved for future generations. And in Forgotten Creek, legends continued to be whispered about the lost treasure, the brave librarian, and the secrets that the forest held. And everyone knew that even in the quietest place on earth, you can find adventure if you have the curiosity and courage to follow your dream. Subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't miss stories.